By now, you probably realize I love decorative stitches, and I love to manipulate built-in decorative stitches for the way I sew. And we see a lot of those creations coming out in our BERNINA Stitching Cosmos online course. I hope you'll take a look at the links we have below this YouTube video where you can see if this is something, a course, you might like to join us for. So in this video, I want to show you something I found many years ago, and I claimed it as my most favorite applique stitch. So it is not a traditional applique stitch at all. It is actually your stitch number 18. Now this, by definition, is actually a stretch stitch. Well, we're not doing stretch stitches at all. But one day I was playing around with it and I made it wider. As I made it wider and then shortened it, I realized I loved this fact that the satin stitch on the left side partnered with this little jump out to the side gave me the perfect opportunity to stitch around a raw edge and have a little bit more than just a plain old satin stitch or blanket stitch. Let me show you what I'm talking about and how it stitches out. Remember, any of these stitches that are heavy, make sure you put stabilizer behind it, and we're using the open toe foot so you can see where you're going. So watch close as I get the design positioned in such a way that the satin stitch goes over the raw edge, but then extends past and into the background fabric. Now with a little variegated thread here, we can have a lot of fun. And then I am going to shorten this down just a hair more, just to get a little bit more solid satin stitch. And it is so much fun. And I hope you'll try some of your stitches and play with them and see which ones turn into your favorite stitches. So let me show you what we're looking at. Isn't that a fun stitch? You'll definitely find uses as you want to make sure that, say, raw edges don't come unraveled, which you sometimes would get if you were doing a blanket stitch. This one is going to be totally encased, and that's why I love this stitch. Now you can see when I started, when I closed it up even further, then I eliminated these gaps that I was seeing and seeing the base fabric coming through. The closer you get it, the more solid that looks. And then again, you can now make this wider or narrower based on the type of size of fabric you're going around. So if you're doing something much smaller, you don't want it to overpower. You're going to kind of proportion the stitch based on the applique piece. If it's a really big piece, you could go for one of the wider versions of this stitch. So I hope you'll try out this stitch. It is my favorite. It's stitch number 18 on the BERNINA 570. Take some time to stitch out your stitch book because those stitches always look 10 times better stitched out than they do just pictured on the screen.